So what is the next stage? Like, what goes on now?
The next stage is we have to wait and see. So we put in the best bid we thought we had. We highlighted the strengths of our community, our quality of life, our access to Canadian and American markets on both sides of the border. But, you know, it's up to Amazon ultimately to determine whether or not they're ready to leave the U.S. and come to Canada. I think we satisfy the concerns there because we've got an American component to our bid. But, you know, it's ultimately up to them to decide what they're looking for exactly.
And I guess that's the $4 billion question. Will they move out of the U.S. and into Canada, or anywhere in Canada for that matter?
And I think that is one of the strengths of our bid. They're not saying to markets in the U.S., we're abandoning you and we're going to Canada. Because we've got Sioux, Michigan in our bid with us, we satisfy the best of both worlds. We've got Canadian and American federal governments that can support Amazon's development here in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and Michigan. So I think it's, they don't have to pick if they come to the Twin Saults.
So a ton of competition out there. There's, from my understanding, 100 communities have put in a bid.
Okay.
Across Canada and I guess in the U.S. as well. How does that make you feel? Like, hey, we're up with the big guys.
Yeah, we're up with the big guys. It never hurts to be talked about in the same league as Toronto, New York, and Chicago. I think that we are certainly, we are perceived at the very least as an underdog. But I'm okay to be an underdog, and I hope that we surprise people and exceed their expectations.
Now, Catherine Wynne came out yesterday talking about the strengths of the bid for Ontario, primarily for the Toronto area. Does she know that Sault Ste. Marie has put in the bid?
Well, it was all over the media, so I'm sure that she saw it. We do know that the Ontario team that's putting together, the package on behalf of Ontario, regardless of the community, is aware that Sault Ste. Marie is putting in a bid. So whether the Premier herself knows it or not, I'm not sure, but certainly the team spearheading this does.
From my understanding, we have a year to wait for a decision.
That could be. They didn't give us any indication of when 2018 it would be, just that it would be in 2018. So one of the 12 months.
Are you privy to the process? Like, are they going to narrow it down to the top 50, then the top 25?
We don't know. They have advised that if they have any questions, they'll reach out to us and ask us. So I presume that the questions would be in the way of expanding on what's in our package. Our package is 23 pages. So and there's another probably 20 pages of appendices. So if we have more to offer them, if they want more information, we're happy to provide it.
Can you tell me a little bit about the actual bid that you put in the presentation?
Yeah, so we responded to everything that Amazon asked for. They asked for us to show, how our connectivity is with internet, and how many miles of road and bike lanes we have, and how we intend to access markets through road and railway, and that's all in our package. What's also in there is a pitch from the committee. I signed it as the committee chair, but a pitch that Sault Ste. Marie is the best place for their employees to have the best quality of life, to satisfy their workforce so that they're happy and healthy, so that they're rested on the weekend, so that they've got that great work-life balance that you wouldn't find if you were stuck in New York traffic or Toronto traffic for a couple hours every Friday when you were trying to get away. Here, 20 minutes and you could be up at Batchewana, right on Lake Superior. 20 minutes east and you could be on the North Channel, sitting in the sun, enjoying a drink at the end of a Friday work week, and that's quality of life that you want.
I mean, and what kind of building are we looking at? Like, I mean, they're looking at 100 acres.
100
right?
acres. We've identified 4 sites in town. Of course, we can't talk about the specifics of which site because it's third-party information. But we do have 4 sites identified. We've selected one that has all the services available to them. They're looking at an initial building of 500,000 square feet, expanding beyond that to 8 million square feet. But if they want,
that's massive.
It's massive.
That's
but
like the steel plant.
It's absolutely massive. It would transform our city, but in Toronto, you find a 100-acre parcel, you're going to have to tear down several buildings to build on it. Here, we've got 4 parcels that are all vacant, ready to be built on, so shovel-ready in essence.
So these are privately owned parcels of property, right?
But partially private, partially public.
So let's say 6 months down the road, you've got the attention of Amazon. They're saying, we're very interested, and you guys are down in the top 5, let's say. What happens then? Does the city say, okay, we better buy a chunk of property to make this thing real, or?
You know what? I think there's any number of things that can happen at that point. If Amazon wanted to negotiate with the landowner or landowners, whoever they are, they'd be welcome to do so. If they wanted us to do it and facilitate it for them, I think we'd be open to doing that. I mean, like you said, it's a $5 billion investment they're looking to make. So, you know, if it meant negotiating for a purchase of a piece of property, I'm sure that's something we'd be happy to undertake. It would change the Sioux. It would, you know, Algoma, as I've said, is synonymous with steel right now. I think Algoma would be synonymous with Amazon if this were the case. So, you know, if Amazon wants to be in a place that it builds a community around it, here's the place to do it, rather than be in a place where it's simply part of a bigger metropolis. So Sault Ste. Marie can be, the Twin Saults can be Amazon, and it would probably mean somewhere in the range of 75,000 additional people, because you've got employees and you presume some of them
Sure,
will
the
bring
spin-off
families
effect
along.
of that would be massive.
Yeah, so
right?
we'd be, you know, a city the size of Sudbury. We'd be an economic
At least that.
At least.
Yeah. And I guess there would be economic impact for Sioux, Michigan as well.
Absolutely, and that's the great part about it. We're not looking to have the whole pie to ourselves. We want to share with our neighbors. We want to share with, you know, bring people in from Echo Bay, bring people in from Gooley, bring people in from Sioux, Michigan. Everybody would have a place here in Sault Ste. Marie.